2024 is over, and that means only one thing, that today we are taking a look at the best Vita homebrew and ports for the whole year. We are a bit later this year, so let's get right into it. This list is in chronological order, that means from oldest releases to the newest ones. The year started strong with the release of Need for Speed Hot Pursuit. I myself was thinking that this is a proper port of the game, but it was just an Android version of the game. It's not as good as original, physics are a bit weird, but overall I think it is worth trying out, especially if you own Vita and you are a racing fan. I also just want to mention that your Vita needs to be hacked, needs to be modded for any of these ports or homebrews to work. Plus, for majority of them you also need to provide your own official game files. They are not included with the release. YouTube is not happy when I talk about installation instructions, so just Google the GitHub of the game you are interested in and check the README. There is also our Discord where you can get always some help in case you get stuck. Port of Soul Calibur follows. This is an original Dreamcast version of the game that was ported to Android and then to the PS Vita. It runs in native resolution, it looks very crisp, and after latest update it runs better than ever. If you are a fighting fan, I'm sure you're gonna have a lot of fun. Don't forget to always properly check the GitHub release page with known issues, notes, tips, tricks, etc. Here it says to lower background music and sound effects to 8 to prevent sound effects glitching out. God bless README pages, I love them. Car Stunts 2, another Android port, there are plenty of them ahead. It is a 3D racing game inspired by Trackmania. To play any game, I recommend to fully overclock your Vita for the best results. When I say it is an Android port or wrapper, it automatically means you need to provide your official game files. If not, the game will just crash. First really popular game that was ported early in the year was a port of Geometry Dash. Jump and fly your way through danger in this rhythm-based action platformer. This game only needs you to press one button. In spite of that, it's brutally challenging and it's gonna make you repeat the same stage until you get it perfectly right. It is also Android port, it uses Fmod for audio, so it was a bit trickier to get it into enjoyable state, but in the end it worked out. Happy days and happy comrades! Swordigo is next, Android port of old school 2D action adventure platformer. Vita homebrew without Android ports would be so much weaker, so God bless Flow, Rin and everybody else who made it possible. I'm sending huge thanks for the whole Vita homebrew community. Swordigo after latest update runs way better. Here and there you can encounter some stutter, fun is guaranteed nonetheless. First banger of the year was a port of retro mobile goodness called Modern Combat 3 Fallen Nation. Gameloft back in the day was making a lot of these mobile ripoffs of popular console games. This one is a ripoff of, I believe, something like Call of Duty Modern Warfare, but it is a hell of an enjoyable ripoff. Certainly worth installing and trying out. Physical controls are supported, overclock is a must. If you wanna find out more about any of these ports, check out my previous videos. I made a playlist of the every Homebrew Vita video of 2024, there were 16 of them. I've checked much more Homebrew goodness in there, not just the games on this list. Enborn X, fun side-scrolling shoot 'em up with huge boss battles, high resolution graphics, beautiful artwork and wonderful music. Might be a bit repetitive after a while, but overall not bad. Roller Coaster Tycoon Classic. This is an Android port of first two games combined into one super game. It uses touch controls. Frame rate can be a bit lower depending on how much is going on in your amusement park. You can mitigate this issue by disabling music rides. Great tip that can be found, you guessed it, in the GitHub README page alongside how to enable DLC. One of my favorite ports of the year was Doom RPG. Yeah, it looks dated as hell and it is a turn-based Doom, but let me tell you something. I love this game and I'm hoping to see its successor get imported in 2025, cause that one was also decompiled. Definitely recommend it. I'm gonna be telling you my top 3 picks of the whole year at the end of the video. Now let's carry on with collection of arcade minigames called Pureya, heavily inspired by WarioWare. Every 10 seconds the game changes. Final Fantasy Dimensions. Previous years we have received the ports of Final Fantasy 3 and 4, the 3D remakes, then Final Fantasy 4 the after years. This one is very similar to that one. I'm taking Doom RPG over the Dimensions every time, but hey, your taste might be different. By the way, I'm making a best of Vita Homebrew video 4th time in a row. I will link the previous 3 of them in the description down below. Next is a Keep in Mind Remastered, psychological 2D indie horror game with eerie soundtrack and critically acclaimed story that follows a man haunted with alcoholism, depression and grief. Not a hero, this is a pretty cool port with next level shootouts, a mix of run and gun and cover based shooting. The original developers described this content that it contains a lot of violence, blood, gore, drug reference, strong language, crude humor and use of tobacco. They know very well that you cannot go wrong with any of these. Even if the game would suck, it would still be a lot of fun because of all of these. Then we had another huge release, port of Cuphead, once just a dream that was deemed impossible, but now very much a reality. I've talked about this port a lot in my previous videos, because full game is playable and it's a very impressive port. All bosses run great, some run and gun levels can be a bit slower, but overall this is a port of full Cuphead game on a super underpowered device with 512 MB of RAM. It doesn't get any better than that. Sonic 3 Air or Angel Island Revisited, fan-made remaster of the classic Sega games Sonic 3 and Knuckles, with improved graphics, audio, widescreen support and new gameplay features. Blasphemous, another impossible port. I even included it in my Impossible Vita ports video with Cuphead and more daring candidates. This port is not perfect and it is really pushing the boundaries between real and surreal. It uses plenty tricks how to avoid the constraints of Vita hardware. Check GitHub for all the compromises and known issues, and we are moving on to the port of Subway Surfers, based on the old PC version of the game, where you can dash and dodge. For some people this is a masterpiece, for some people not so much. I'm including it on the list nonetheless because it's still a very impressive piece of homebrew. DS Vita, a brand new work-in-progress Nintendo DS emulator that was once also deemed impossible, until talented developer took over this challenge, and against all odds we can already see the fruits of his hard labor. Few slower-paced RPG games are playable, and we are just on the version 0.4. Sounds very promising if you ask me. Now quick shout out to all of my Patreons and supporters. Your contribution is greatly appreciated. Some of you are here for a long time, some of you left, some of you just came, like Brandon, huge shout out to him. I'm dedicating big thanks to all of you, plus I'm also dedicating huge thanks to you watching this video right now, because I'm sure you realize without you it wouldn't even exist. Brandon joined as a true believer, and that means we are doing a song that goes something like this. I'm here to let you know that I wanna thanks all of you tonight. Be my guest and install Homebrew now. Don't forget to hack your Vita. First and foremost, read me now. Don't skip a step, be right ahead like a merry-go-round. We carry on with You Snail, a unique platformer where an evil AI predicts your movement. This is an excellent game, bit shorter but very engaging nonetheless. If you like challenging platformers, this is a must install. I know many people are watching my videos but they don't own PS Vita, and I'm glad to tell you it was also released on Steam as well as on Switch and Xbox, like many other games on this list. So doesn't matter where, but try it out if you haven't already. Super Mario World Vita is a port of SMW, a reverse engineered project with several enhancements. You wouldn't believe how much I love all of these reverse engineered projects. Simpsons Hit&Run is not a reverse engineered project, but it is based on a leaked source code and optimized to run properly on the Vita. At the beginning, there were some issues with slow cutscenes and world not rendering properly, but all of that was fixed, and now all is left to do is to play the hell out of it. I think few people already even fully completed it. Homebrew port of the year? You tell me. I'm including Tama Tool as well, you can play Tamagotchi with it. I think even ports like this are needed for all-around homebrew machine that Vita undoubtedly is. You know what I always say, the more homebrew, the better. Next is LEGO Star Wars The Complete Saga, another Android port. I've seen this game has a lot of fans. Frame rate is solid, but there are some issues with the audio. Ski Safari, Adventure Time, and Endless Downhill Skiing Adventure. Following adventure is Punk Adventure with more than 100 levels to beat. We are getting very close to the end of the year, where the great port of Unreal was released. A single-player old-school first-person shooter. Frame is not exactly stable, I haven't played it much, but from what I've seen and from what I heard from your feedback, this is another banger and must install. Nanosaur 2 feels like a flight combat simulator, haven't played much of this either. Port of Tetra Space is next, a puzzle game set in a 4D environment, currently in alpha with 12 levels available, but I feel like it belongs in this list. Last but not least, Port of Death Race, aka reverse engineered, yes again, Carmageddon. Haven't covered this yet in my video, we will be talking about it more in upcoming one. Now let's move on to the honorable mentions. First one is Icey. This is a really solid work in progress port, not sure if it ever will be finished, perhaps not. It is slower when there are a lot of fighting effects going on the screen, and it only works up to the level 3. Still great to see this 2D side-scrolling hack and slash run natively on the Vita. Second honorable mention is a port of Unity Flash Player. I like it a lot because it is a native solution for playing Flash games on the Vita. Unfortunately, most of the games don't really work, so if you want to play any old Flash games on your Vita, you still need to use the old PSP method. Still, really cool concept in my opinion. Chiaki PS5 Remote Play deserves shoutout too. It works, but it is slower, so ideally you want to use it only for slow-paced RPG or something similar. 2024 brought some nice fun made homebrews as well, like Crossy Road Clone, and I really liked Ancient Villa 3D puzzle game. My list is not comprehensive by any means. There were many more games and ports and mods released throughout the year. These are just the highlights of the full year based on my subjective opinion. You can tell me your subjective opinion down below. Channel supporters voiced their opinions as well. Juli and Marko love Simpsons Hit&Run. Hiro Hito loves Modern Combat 3. 3DS Renew loves Bully. It was released back in 2021, but hey, it's still a great port. And Dalaylama loves the most Doom RPG. My top 2024 picks are Modern Combat 3, clearly, great old school mobile port. I'm still hoping for port of Modern Combat 2 as well. Doom RPG, I love that one to bits. Then Simpsons Hit&Run and Cuphead obviously, and You Snail also really surprised me. 2024, in my opinion, was a solid year for Vita Homebrew. Big thanks to every developer that dedicated his or her free time to make a great Vita port of Homebrew. If you've made it up to here, this video surely deserves a like. On the Twitter there were already some talks about possible next Vita Homebrew competition contest, like we already had in previous years, Q-Hang contest, Fu-Hang contest. This is in my opinion great idea, I'm all for it, but clearly this is not a one-man job. We would need some sponsors in order for developers to get some financial rewards, so they have some incentive to create something worthwhile. Is this something that you would be interested in? Would you maybe want to donate some money to increase the prize pool? Let me know. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Peace!